Oh, we've lost the sound. I don't know what happened there. Let's try that. There we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our special Saturday afternoon session. We are at the end of trailers and previews this week. Of course, I am Matt. We are here with Mike and Sebastian, as always. Boys, how's your week been?
Been
Uh,
amazing. How about you?
it's been good. It's been good. Yeah,
I
hanging in there.
fantastic.
But
I had a great
I
week.
assume you've had a better week than we have.
I have
Probably.
had a great week. I really it I've said it a couple episodes ago, and I've probably said it every episode for about a month now. 2023 is kicking off fucking fantastic for my geekdoms. I was able to get some new craft beers into me over this week. Took a couple days off of work, and I did a special event. So right now, let's take a look at that real quick. And yeah, I my wife got me tickets to the first arena AEW Dynamite that we were able to attend down at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, which was, oh my God. Have you guys been to this facility?
Is that the old Key Arena?
It is the old Key Arena. They've given it a hell of a facelift. So it's right down there with the Museum of Pop Culture and the Space Needle and everything else. Absolutely fantastic facility.
Mike,
Nice.
didn't we go
Must see.
see Ozzy Osbourne there for
No,
three
that was
songs?
Tacoma. That was Tacoma.
Ah, right, Tacoma.
Oh no, the three songs was BC Place.
No,
was-
that was
no, that
in
was-
Or not
Tacoma.
BC Place. It was
Arena.
Rogers Arena. We
Oh.
went to Ozfest in Tacoma.
In Tacoma. Yeah, there
We
was four
saw
of us, right?
it
Who was the
was
four?
yeah, it was Bio. No, it was the three of us went to
Just the
Ozfest.
three?
Yeah, just three of us, and it was Biohazard, Sepultura,
Yep.
Danzig, and
Yeah.
Ozzy Osbourne the first year of that, and that was in Tacoma. The three songs was unfortunately GM Place or Rogers Arena. Because
Was it? I thought it was in Tacoma. He
Yeah,
played
no, it
three
was.
songs and then he left during the middle of Paranoid.
Yeah, he did. You're right, but it was in
That was
here
Vancouver.
in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the band kept playing, and
Yeah.
no,
Sorry, I didn't mean to
yeah.
derail.
No, that's fine. And they kept playing, and then they all started looking really confused and didn't know what was going on. Anyways, yeah, so went down, as you can see, got me a new T-shirt.
Nice.
Oh, scissor me daddy. Billy Gunn still getting us in trouble in school. Years later, it's gone from suck it to scissor me daddy. Absolutely
That's-
fantastic. It's the second Dynamite that my wife and I have been able to attend. The first one, we had all four kids with us because it was on Jericho Cruise 2. This is many years later. I just cannot say enough about it. The AEW roster being absolutely stacked with talent. We didn't get to see everybody that is on the roster. They don't try to squeeze it in. They sort of space it out, but we did get to see all four hometown talents. Of course, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, aka Daniel Bryan in the WWE, had a hell
Funny
of a
how
night.
he just switched his name for.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
thanks, Vince. Swerve Scott came home, a Tacoma boy, and had just an absolute barn burner with AR Fox. And in the main event, Darby Allin, spoilers, so pause it now if you haven't seen Dynamite and you're trying to watch it. Darby Allin took a title off of Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe did not kill him. And then probably the most over talent in the AEW locker room, not named Chris Jericho. Referee Aubrey Edwards had a great night. She was able to come out and reverse a decision that put the tag titles back where they belong on the Acclaimed instead of Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. It was fantastic. The building was awesome. The crowd was awesome. Wasn't quite sold out, but we were there for every minute of it. We got Moxley's Rick Vaughn Major League entrance, which is just, if you haven't seen that, Google that, because he comes out the cheap seats, just like Ricky Vaughn at the end of Major League. Everybody's singing along. And I'll give you a quick highlight package that I've put together of this. I apparently downloaded the wrong one. Anyways, we'll get to that
Okay.
later. That was well, we're just gonna call that a news. But no, it was absolutely fantastic. We made some new friends. Sitting in the hotel bar, I have this tendency, and it embarrasses the wife and children, is I will just wear the wrestling shirts when we're going out on these excursions, and inevitably somebody will see it and go, "You here for the wrestling? Are you here for the cruise?" And then we make friends. We made a couple of good friends, Amanda and Brian at the bar. Brian and I, we mentioned something to the bartender about being there for AEW. Brian went, "Oh, you get to go to the show." Noticed my shirt and had a nice long chat. When we came back to drop off some merch in the hotel, we were sort of planning to go out and meet another old friend of mine that I worked with who was headed out to see Swerve's after party, which we didn't we missed. But we ended up sitting at the bar and chatting with them again. And the bar was just full of people that had come over from the show. We were walking distance. We were right next to the Pop Culture Museum, the Hyatt House Hotel down there, right next to the Space Needle. Fantastic if you're ever in the area. Absolutely worth it. Great buffet breakfast. But I had a blast. It was a perfect warm up for the Jericho Cruise at the end of the month. Um, I couldn't have asked for a better show, and I've seen a lot of live shows. I've gone down to Seattle to see a lot of live shows, and it's just, I can't say enough good things about it, period. And I can't wait for the cruise at this point. I'm just absolutely amped up. And
Oh, an
unfortunately,
absolute
I have
great
to.
Great preview for your cruise. It's just
And,
getting you that more excited.
yeah, and then we also booked our final things for the cruise and decided that since we were supposed to fly out on the Monday, we're not going to. We're going to go meet our friend Sarah, who is coming with us on the cruise in Los Angeles, where
Nice.
she has a work conference. If I can wrap my mouth around words, that would be cool. And we're going to spend the weekend in LA before we fly out to do 2 days in Miami and 4 days on the
Awesome.
boat. So
That's
we have
amazing.
an
That's awesome.
absolutely great trip planned. I could not be happier. Um, except for the fact that I clearly screwed up that video package, but that's all right. We'll get
That's
to it
all right.
eventually.
So who's your like hidden talent that we should watch out for, or that people should watch out for in AEW?
Ooh, there's a lot right now. They got a
Like
lot of
you,
young
yeah,
talent. The Acclaimed, these
the
guys
tag team.
came, the tag team, the Acclaimed. They are this generation's new age outlaws, and it really helps that they have Billy Gunn. But I was saying that long before that. They are one guy is fantastic on the mic, Max Caster, Platinum Max, who was also just the other day announced as doing his own musical set on the Jericho Cruise this year, which we're looking forward to. He comes down to
Nice.
the ring, has a rap every time he comes down. Um, and then as far as single talent goes, watch the Four Pillars. MJF, who's their current world champion, just an absolute heat magnet. And he had the crowd just hating his guts because between the AEW dark tapings and the actual live Dynamite, he did a video package on the or did a video promo on the screen and absolutely ripped apart the city of Seattle. Old school heel
Nice.
shit. But he also, just to piss everybody off, not only mentioned the Supersonics running away from town, played the footage of Seattle fucking up the Super Bowl, which was brutal.
Was
You can
that the
actually,
one where the Patriots won?
uh-huh.
Yes.
Give it to Marshawn Lynch? No, just
Yeah,
kidding. We're gonna throw it.
We're going to throw it to
when
the
they
defense.
realized they fucked up the script, so they had to drop the play.
Hey,
Like,
I am so happy that happened. Let me tell you,
I'm sure you
I
are.
have no problem with that.
yeah, and if anybody has recommendations for things to do in LA, Sarah says we are taking recommendations. And then keep watching
Go
Jungle
do
Boy.
the there isn't there like a Star Tour thing that you can do?
Yeah,
Like you
we've
can
been
take a
we've been
bus
looking
and it
at
goes.
that. We're looking at maybe doing one full day in Universal, but we still got about a half a
Oh
day
yeah.
to
Yeah,
kill
Universal's
looking at
fun.
comedy clubs. But we're absolutely taking recommendations. Yeah, keep an eye on Jungle Boy Jack Perry over in AEW as well. He is the son of Luke Perry, Dylan himself,
Oh, sweet.
from 90210.
Rest in
Nice.
peace.
And
Oh,
Dr.
tragic.
Baker, just the face of the women's division for the first 2 years of the company, taking a bit of a backseat. AEW is just stacked with talent. It absolutely is. And
Yeah.
then local boy Darby Allin, and of course you guys got top notch guys like the American Dragon. You got Chris Jericho, you got Billy Gunn that are still holding it down. They've had more matches than they have in front of them. AEW is what I loved about wrestling.
It's real
And we
and
have
raw. It's not.
it's Yeah, it's
overproduced, I guess, right?
Mhm.
absolutely. That's it. It's not overproduced. Nobody's coming out with a 4-page script memorized. The matches don't aren't quite call it in the ring quality, but at the same time, the talent is doing such a fantastic job of getting there. You can tell once they've worked with some of the talent that has been out there, like Billy, like Dustin Rhodes, like Chris Jericho, like Brian Danielson for a long time, that they are starting to come along, and it's not a more luchador based style where it's just big move, big move, big move. You can see that they are starting to slow down, chill out, tell a better story in the ring, really make you invested. And also, right now, the feud that I am just following dead on: Hangman Adam Page and John Moxley. Adam Page is AEW is his biggest spot right now, next to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is just absolutely fantastic. Some cowboy shit, which is one of his major catchphrases. And John Moxley, better known, well, no, formerly known as Dean Ambrose in the WWE. And these two have had a couple of barn burners to the point where they had to cut one short because John caught him with a clothesline and knocked his ass into
Oblivion.
That's a week.
January. He's not cleared to
Nice.
wrestle. I think they wrestled in
Oh,
October or
geez.
November, caught
Oh,
him with a
Jesus.
clothesline and knocked his ass the fuck out in the ring, to
Whoa.
the point where everybody could tell they were scrambling. It wasn't one of those things where it's like, it's probably a thing. Oh,
Yeah.
he might have got his bell rung. They're just setting it up for next week. No, they're like, fuck.
What do we do?
What do we do now?
That
Call
were
an
it
audible,
was
I
you
guess.
could
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there is a point where you can tell everybody is absolutely scrambling. So that's my AEW stuff. We'll check back in with me in February. I will be bouncing off the walls or depressed as shit because my cruise is over. But right now it is shaping up to be an absolute great event. This was the appetizer I needed for it.
You're gonna
Anyways,
be okay. Yeah,
no,
let's
go ahead.
let's move
Go
in.
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you're gonna be on the cruise when Royal Rumble is out. I think, right?
Yep, 100% will be
Do
the
you
second time I've missed it.
do you not get to watch it on the cruise, or is that not?
No, the reception is super spotty out
Got
there.
it. Yeah.
Cruise internet, for anybody that's been on a cruise and signed up for the internet package, knows
Yeah,
they
but
always
wouldn't
run
the
out of money.
cruise ship itself put it on,
No,
or is that just because they're not
no.
affiliated to the WWE and
Well,
they
I
don't
mean,
want?
it's that we have so much to do.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair. You'd
we have
think though it's a
so much
wrestling
to do.
cruise that they
It,
would have like a theater set up to watch the
yeah,
Rumble or something. I don't know. That
I
might be
mean,
a
there
thing.
was the year Edge came back. We were all on the cruise,
That was one of the
and
biggest pots
a
I've
lot.
ever
Oh yeah,
heard
and
in.
everybody got off the
Yeah,
cruise, and we're finally getting reception and cell service back, and all our notifications are coming through, and everybody's pissed because now we've had this
yeah,
spoiled because it's all over the place. We got off cruise cruise two, and it was days before the Royal Rumble, and MVP left the cruise, flew to the Royal Rumble, and has been with WWE ever since.
Wow.
oh
Also
wow,
made a
Cool.
surprise return.
Yeah, yeah.
We had Rey Mysterio had to leave Cruise One to go to the Royal Rumble. He only did 2 days, but he had signed with WWE, and he just said, "Look, I can give you this much," and they're like, "We need you at the Rumble." And there must have been some back and forth because Ray
yeah,
was there, and then Ray was gone. But yeah, they
yeah,
we don't. It's too spotty out there to get the reception. Like, you're in the middle of the ocean, the internet sucks.
yeah.
To
That makes
stream
sense.
something like that,
Hmm.
um, it's just not worth it, especially with the amount of talent we have and things to
They
do.
don't have a
And
connection to one of Elon Musk's satellites, I guess.
no, there none of that. So he hasn't bought Norwegian yet. Yet, I mean, we'll see. But I mean, there is a weird thing in wrestling that I'm sure we'll get into down the line. There is a heavy division. You saw in my opening package a quote from Luke Gallows: "It's all pro wrestling, you dickheads," and that was when he said that, referring to the fact that if you're a WWE fan, everybody else can go fuck themselves. If you're an AEW fan, everybody else can go fuck themselves. There's not a lot of crossover. There's not a lot of guys like me that's just like, it's
I like it
wrestling.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's a shame. I mean, there's definitely a style thing to it. Um, which we
yeah,
can break down at some other point. And WWE has their own style. AEW has a very deep mix because they are pulling from all over the world, and it's the fact that you can't like one and the other in some people's eyes is a
yeah.
very predominant thing. It's a very toxic fan base. It is worse than the group of Star Wars fans that the originals are where it's at, fuck everything else. No, no, prequels are where it's at. The originals suck, and what's this? And then there's the new fans. They're like the new ones are great, but they're
Is
like
there any
13
new
years old.
fans that anybody actually think the new ones are great? Come on.
Okay, we'll get into that later because you and I will
Okay.
argue. But anyways, let's get into what we're here for. We're talking the movies of 2023 that we are looking forward to upcoming. So that's had enough out of me. So why don't we throw it over to Mike? This was your idea. So tell us what you
Okay.
feel is upcoming.
Well,
What are you interested?
there's a lot of like big movies coming out. Indiana Jones is coming, Guardians 3, but I don't want to talk about like super gigantic obvious releases because that's kind of no fun. So I'm kind of digging a little bit deeper. There's a lot of horror coming out this year and a lot of gore. Like
There
I
is.
watched, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for Evil Dead Rise, but
Yes.
holy crap. I love the Evil Dead movies and I love the comedy aspect of, especially the comedy aspect of Evil Dead, especially Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, whatever. In the last Evil Dead movie that came out, I don't even remember what it was called, but I don't know.
Army of Dark, wasn't it Army of
No,
Darkness?
there was
I think it was just Evil Dead.
Oh,
just
the remake
like
of Evil
the
Dead,
remake, yeah, and it was
Yeah.
okay, but
dude,
I
that
don't
was
know.
like gore to the max, though. Like
Yeah.
that was like I was surprised at how much they actually
Oh,
put
yeah.
in terms of the gore factor. So if you're
Yes.
like a really good horror fan that likes like gory horror, the Evil Dead remake is
Like
for you.
I don't even think we should put the trailer up for it because it's
No, it's
Mm-mm.
yeah.
it's a little much. And that sort of took me by surprise of it being a little much. It takes a lot to shock me, and it takes a lot to kind
Yeah.
of get me going. Holy crap, they're actually doing that! But
Mhm.
anyways, whatever. That's one of them. And then I don't know if you want to.
It's a Bruce Campbell endorsed film too.
Yeah,
The
and
Evil Dead.
Sam Raimi
What's it called?
endorsed it as well, and so it's you got the blessing
Yeah.
of the guys who originally made the first three.
Yeah.
And it looks something else. I don't even really know how to describe it. It looks twisted. It looks just,
It's got a daughter mother relationship there.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say there's this crazy
Mhm.
mother-daughter
Yeah.
thing, and it's like, oh my god, they're going there, and then they sure did. But yeah, there's also, I don't know if we want to put this trailer up either, because again, it's another horror movie. It's Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. It comes out in February, and it looks fucking awesome.
Why do we need this? This
We
is
need-
it's kind of a neat take because I guess the premise is Christopher Robin's grown up,
Mhm.
and he left the 100-acre wood right when he went to college, and he's sort of abandoned. The other characters felt abandoned by Christopher, and they turned into crazy feral psycho killers. And then Christopher goes back to the 100-acre wood with his fiance or whatever, and then realizes, I think it was Eeyore. They murdered Eeyore, and sort of there's all this. It's all twisted and crazy. And then he brings some friends, and typical horror movie, friends, get they get well, I guess what's coming to them, I guess, and Winnie is just a complete psychomaniac. And I don't know, it won't come out in the theater where I live, and I doubt it. Maybe it will come out where you guys are, but man, it would be
That's
so
not
good to see.
that's not up for general release though, is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
wouldn't
might have to
expect
hit
to
up
see
the
that
theater that
until
just shows our
October.
house.
It's an interesting premise, and like Evil Dead, like the original Evil Dead movies, um, they leaned into the comedy because Sam Raimi realized that, oh, we fucked up a bunch of stuff. Like, especially in Evil Dead 2, you can see a rip in one of the monster costumes. You can see as they're chasing through the house, you can see the fact that the set ends and there's boom mics and feet in the top. So they leaned into
amazing.
the comedy
There's a
aspect
missing
of it.
ceiling in one of the shots.
Yeah.
too.
Absolutely. This one
And the corridor
is
that goes on forever in a cabin that's got 2 rooms. But yeah,
Yeah, that's funny.
a deadly serious take on Evil Dead, and a deadly serious take on turning Winnie the Pooh into
a psycho,
a psychopathic
Yeah.
horror film. And I recently discovered that part of the reason this is able to happen is Winnie the Pooh is now in public domain.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
I see.
Disney has can maintain a copyright on him as long as he's wearing the red shirt.
There you
So
go.
if they do anything to remove
Is
the
that
red
the
shirt,
stipulation?
that is apparently the stipulation.
Yeah.
Willing.
You need it, Sarah. You
Oh,
definitely
you
need
do.
it.
Matt, do you have a picture?
There's
Do you have like of the poster? Can you look up a picture?
I can
of,
absolutely look up a poster of that for
yeah,
you.
we can do that because it's I don't know. The poster just makes me laugh.
It's
Winnie
something
the
that I
Pooh
thought
horror.
was going to be
Oh, yeah.
a YouTube fan made thing that has turned into, they got a budget of some sort.
Oh yeah, and looking at the trailer, it's like it actually looks good. Like it looks like a legit movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of like remakes coming out this year.
Yeah,
I'll
there
talk
is.
about one in a second after we
Sure.
take a look at the
Yeah,
poster.
let's
but like,
give me 2 seconds. There I've noticed that there are a bunch of remakes and a bunch of sequels that's coming out.
Yeah, it's sequel heavy this year.
Winnie's.
Yeah. So good.
Blood and Honey.
I can't wait. I just honestly can't wait.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Whole thing. It's I honestly did not expect. Yeah, and then you can
go.
see from the array. Yeah, like this one right here.
Yeah.
What was the
And he puts that hammer to good use in the trailer. Let me tell you.
Piglet, and Piglet's got his balls dropped, son. Them some tusks on that boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What was the Santa Claus movie that just came out? That was
the
like
one with David Harbour,
the horror one.
Yeah,
which is it was apparently amazing. Actually, I've heard. So, that's a thing, doing children's stories but making them into horror. So let me get into mine.
Absolutely.
There is a Wizard of Oz. Not a remake, but it's when Dorothy's much older. It's called Gale, Stay Away from Oz, and it's literally like a mind-bending horror take on it. So Dorothy is much older, and I don't know if we want to play the trailer. Do we want to do that?
It's not super fun. It's more creepy.
Yeah, let's play the trailer if you can, Matt, and then we'll talk about it in a second.
2 seconds here. I'll probably pause this as we go.
I have it linked in the private chat if you want to look at it.
It's come. So I mean, this is. I'm just waiting for the ads to stop playing here.
The ads.
But yeah, it's an interesting concept.
Have you guys seen the trailer before?
I watched it last night and this morning.
Yeah, it took me. I didn't even know it was coming out until this morning. I
couldn't find a release date for it.
I heard April. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So we're starting creepy here right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
So
do we have sound?
I have screwed up the sound somehow.
It's muted on your deal there.
Yeah, just click the unmute button.
Oh, look at that!
And then put the volume up. Nope, it's still not coming.
No, I still can't hear it.
Okay, well, we don't have to watch the trailer. People can look at it for themselves.
Yeah. There's something. There's a setting.
Well, there's subtitles. We don't really need volume for it. You can.
Yeah.
Which can only really help us. I won't have to edit out as much.
So I just.
Dorothy Gale.
Yeah, I just found out today that Dorothy's last name is Gale.
I had no idea.
And that's Dorothy right there. So.
Yeah.
But basically her daughter.
I think granddaughter, right?
Granddaughter, yeah. Tries to connect, I guess, and she just goes psycho. Not psycho, but like starts screaming about not going back to Oz. Don't go back to Oz. Mm-hmm. So
stay away from Oz. Stay away from Oz. Yeah.
We don't really know much of what's going on, but
no,
it's just interesting. Going into the vein of like, let's remake children's movies into horror movies.
Yeah. Well, why not? It's kind of it's a fun take on these kinds of movies where you can turn them, not grown up, but you can turn them into these twisted, kind of horror things, as opposed to seeing Saw 10, which like do we need 10 Saw movies? No.
Well, it's coming out next year.
It's coming. But we don't. I don't know.
That is freaky right there.
There we go.
Straight supernatural, black-eyed demon.
Yeah.
Look at that. And this
Yeah.
is and let's be honest, there's some stuff in the original Wizard of Oz that they cartoon up, like the flying monkeys, terrifying. They
Oh
melt a
hell yeah!
person.
Fuck, you
The
imagine
Yeah.
a blue
everybody
monkey
just
flying at you?
everybody ODs in a field of poppies. Like I guess we don't have to think too hard about what they're aiming at for that one. I mean, they
No.
crush
No.
somebody with a house,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
That's a
absolutely.
pretty violent thing right out of the gate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So, and we're not getting too deep into the actual Oz portion.
No.
I don't even know if they're gonna go back to Oz. I mean, I assume they would or not. I don't know, but yeah, it's just an interesting. She's haunted by her experience with Oz, and things are
Yeah.
coming back. So it's an interesting thing that I guess
Definitely
you and
could.
I both found it this morning, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
could
So
definitely. You see, if you have the experience that Dorothy had in the Wizard of Oz coming back, you
yeah,
could be a little screwed up from that, right? It's yeah, and
it does
exactly.
kind
Great
of
cast. She really good. I thought the same thing when I was
yeah.
watching the trailer. I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
And something I missed as well, going back to Mike's comment,
Naked
poo's
poo
fair
is
game.
fair game. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make it
I guess
poo.
so. I mean, he was shirt cocking it to begin with to steal a line for Deadpool. But yeah, no, I didn't know I needed
Shirt
that.
cock.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'll probably watch it,
Oh hell yeah,
not with my wife because she'll see the trailer and go, "Nope,"
yeah.
and that's
Um,
fair.
I assume you're not looking forward to many horror movies, Matt, coming up
No,
this
I'm
year.
not a big horror
Yeah.
fan because a
No.
lot of the time, um, it's just gore.
Yes.
It's not as
Yeah.
much horror; it's just gore.
Yeah.
Um, I like a good thriller that really uses the lighting and the music
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the acting to build the suspense to it.
Or it
Yes.
messes with your
Um,
mind.
but when it's just
Yeah.
if it's just dark and some guy with a big knife or a chainsaw, it's
It gets old pretty quick, right? Because we've been watching that crap for 30, 35 years. It's
Yeah.
oh
all
yeah,
it's all the same slashers or slashers. You can't
yeah,
really reinvent the wheel with a slasher just
yeah.
because it's just kind of
Yeah.
what
The
do you do with
slashers
it?
were a grindhouse staple, which then became a straight to video staple, right?
Mhm.
Like you get into some of these things that have 8, 9, 10 sequels, and you didn't know it went past 2.
Yeah.
The Saw series.
The Saw, the Saw series was a hell of an upgrade in the gore genre. Absolutely, I put together a few of those in the theater, and unfortunately, theater checked and film checked a couple of things at the wrong time and went, nope,
Yeah.
not for
I
me.
actually like the Saw series though, because there's a moral question in it, right? Like,
Yes.
Absolutely,
and there's a way out for every character, some like for the most part, right? And the twist at the end of the very first Saw, nobody saw coming.
nope,
No.
It was one
not
of
at
the
all.
best twists at the end of a horror movie I've ever watched, and it
You
just
know what?
put him on the map.
I'll give you this. It's not only the best twist at the end of a horror movie. I can think of. I'm gonna book note this with in my time in the theater business. So from '99 to like 2008 or 2009, that was probably one of the top 3 twists next to Fight Club.
Mhm.
Ah, yes.
And unfortunately, it was ruined for me
Spoiler
by
warning for everybody.
yeah, I won't
Maybe
get into the twist. There is a twist at the end of Fight Club, but the
possible
twist at the
spoiler
end of The
warning.
Sixth Sense was also big. Not
Yeah.
for me because I saw it during the projectionist strike, and one of the projectionists would sit outside yelling the twist at the
Why
end.
would he do that?
Oh, that's
Because they were
brutal.
dick.
Yes, Matt did
Um,
work in a
Fucking
theater.
troll.
Yes,
Yes, he
Sarah
did.
likes to point out the fact that I have mentioned that before, but it was really one of the best times of my life, especially when I got keys and an alarm code.
Hell yeah.
There was the end of Sixth Sense, I believe. I think it was my brother-in-law was telling me this story. He was in line to see the movie, and some guy was walking out, and he says, "I can't believe," and then he just tells what happens
Oh
at
yeah,
the end. And the guy's like,
Oh,
yeah,
Are you serious? Like,
yeah.
it's
why
Straight out
would you
of
say that coming out of the theater? Like, shut your mouth. There's people in line to see it,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
so,
yeah.
like you just ruined it for like 100 people that are waiting in line for it.
Oh, 100%. Straight out of Family Guy when they
Yeah.
do the bit where Peter and Lois are walking out of the movie. He's like, I can't believe he's Luke's father.
It's I would have punched that guy if I just popped him. Like, how's that for ruining an ending? But no,
Yeah, right? Like,
we
I
don't
mean,
condone
there's
any sorts of violence on this show. Maybe a small amount of violence,
I
but
just did 15 minutes on wrestling.
Yeah, I think
Yes, we
violence is
condone
okay with
violence.
us.
okay, we condone
Yeah.
violence.
As long as it's pre-planned and everybody knows what's about to happen. Um, yeah, so I mean, you guys start off hard with the two horrors here, and both fascinating,
I have actually,
fascinating
Can
takes.
I
I
actually have
give you
two
some?
more horrors,
Yeah,
but
I got my
yeah,
main one that I want to talk about. It's an indie film,
Okay,
but
well,
Matt,
let
you
me
go.
get
Give
into
us one.
yeah, let me get into the one that I'm most looking forward to. And this one goes back to the '80s when I saw a movie and I went, they're missing parts of this, and it was still solid. The effects weren't quite there, but now we have part one and part two. I'm really looking forward to Dune.
Oh yeah, Dune.
Really looking forward to Dune.
Dune one
Um,
was amazing. I was shocked how good it was.
absolutely.
Uh oh. Yeah.
I haven't seen the first one yet.
Oh,
Okay.
it's really good. It's
I
really
know it's on my
And
list.
so good.
Seb, avoid it. Avoid it until you can watch both of them back.
Yeah.
I would like to see your reaction to that.
Yeah,
I think we can do a show on
Yeah, that's
this.
a great idea.
Seen it. And maybe you and I go check out two and sit around one of the houses and watch one first. Or Mike, if you want to come for a drive, just saying. Um, I'm
yeah,
really looking
I
forward
should
to it. I
watch
think
that.
they not only did they do a really good cast,
Hmm.
including Dave Batista,
Yep.
who is doing well. Seb is
Let's do it,
single.
Sarah. We will
Oh,
do.
calm down. Not that kind of single.
We,
No, but no. And here's what really
Matt's not the
got me
boss
on
of
it
you.
is my mother-in-law texted me after she had seen it. And she's like, "Have you seen Dune yet?" I said, "No, I haven't seen it yet." It's like, "Oh my!" And she absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
Um, we don't always see eye to eye, especially on what we enjoy watching, but she was 100% right. I'm going to give you credit, Heather, although I doubt you're going to listen to this. Absolutely right. It was fantastic. They fleshed out parts of the stories that was missing in the first one. They had a fantastic cast, and they ended it at the perfect spot where you have all this lead up, you have all
Hmm.
this build, and for those of us that remember the 80s film, there's a turning point about halfway through there, and that's where they cut it, and you're like, there's so much fantastic stuff about to come. Like
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, fantastic
I
job.
was I was gonna say he was awesome.
And he is low key becoming one of the top notch character actors out there. And he's
Yes.
getting big roles, but he's going from Star Wars to Dune to Moon Knight.
yeah.
He was Apocalypse in one of those
God awful X-Men
awful
movies.
X-Men movies that they just, and you know what, we'll get into that some other time because I got
Yeah,
opinions.
we
But
sure can.
Oscar Isaac is just an absolute tour de force. He is, I don't know if he's a name above the title guy, but he is like
No,
Gary
not yet.
Oldman,
Yeah.
like Philip Seymour Hoffman, where you see
Hmm.
his name somewhere in the credits, you're like, all right,
Yeah.
at least one part of this movie is happening. Like Stanley Tucci, like it doesn't matter what he's in. You're like, he's going to
He's good.
understand the assignment. He's going to do his best job, and he might be the best part of the entire thing.
Hmm.
He's a low
Or
key phenomenal actor. Stanley
absolutely,
Tucci.
Stanley Tucci,
Yeah.
absolutely, 100%. You look at the his range. I mean, I think we can get into him at some other time. All right, well, let's hustle along here, Mike. What else you got on your list?
I gave you an idea for that trailer. It's a movie called Landlocked. It actually premiered. It comes out.
Yes.
It's limited release yesterday, and it is a sort of found footage kind of creepy horror movie. Again with the horror, but the trailer is. I think Matt, you might actually kind of enjoy it. It's the plot basically. Here's a quick synopsis. At his soon-to-be demolished childhood home, Mason finds a VHS camera that can see into the past, invoking a deadly obsession with nostalgia. And that doesn't tell you a lot, but it's. I was like, you know what? For an indie movie, this movie looks really fucking cool.
Well, I happen to have the trailer right here.
Okay. There's not a ton of dialogue, so it's not the end of the world if we can't hear it.
No, but I mean,
oh, got sound.
festivals. That's great. I mean, this looks like it could be in my neighborhood. It's just an old farmhouse.
It's a generic old farmhouse, and it's
It's an indie movie, you said?
it's an indie movie and made by
Nice.
four brothers, and
Okay.
Sometimes those are like low key phenomenal movies
yeah,
because they don't
Well-
have they don't have a big Hollywood producer looking over their shoulder saying you can't make it this way, you got to make it this way.
yeah,
Mhm.
You know, you're
Exactly.
allowed to do you're free to just explore a
Yeah.
creative space, right? So
And I
yeah,
even found a New York Times review of this is one of the 5 horror movies to watch this year, and the New York Times is no joke. So so yeah, so now he's sort of looking through the camera and you know, seeing stuff, and yeah, again, the lens is showing him the past, and he's like, what the fuck, and
Interesting.
yeah, and it's sort of I don't know like where it's gonna go, but there's a whole closet full of tapes, and yeah, kind of has
it's
that. Did you guys ever watch? God, what's it called? Archive 80 something. Archive.
no,
Oh
No.
yes, yes,
no.
yes. Archive 81, I
81.
believe.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. On
Yeah,
Netflix. This
on
kind of has
Netflix.
maybe a little vibe of this, the vibe of that in
Yeah.
this,
Um, I'm gonna
which
have to fact check that in a second to make sure, unless one of you guys can Google it quick. But yeah, absolutely a great
it's Archive
Netflix
81.
show. Unfortunately, canceled, and it
Canceled.
it just
Yeah.
gotten really good. Nice little cliffhanger, and
Yes.
then that's all we're
Boom.
gonna get. We're
Done. Just like
well,
1899 had 3 seasons ready to go, and it got canceled after one. So don't
well.
Yeah,
I mean,
waste your
let's.
time.
a
I
lot
mean,
of people are
this.
upset about that actually.
I'm quite upset because
Yeah,
it was fucking cool. It was
1890.
really
Yeah,
good. Yeah, it was
yeah.
really good.
Okay, so that
Landlocked.
found
Okay.
footage landlocked looks absolutely
And
great.
it's I don't think it's going to be this. I doubt there'll be hardly any gore in it. It'll be more up your alley,
It's a
suspense.
psychological
It's
one,
a
right? Yeah.
Yes.
psychological one, right?
Yeah.
And it really was like I was like, really, this is really really cool. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
No, that.
What is one of your favorite found footage films that you've ever seen? I have two, and they're pretty popular. But I mean, for
um,
me, go ahead.
no, you go. No, you go,
So
please.
the first one I ever watched in theaters was the Blair Witch Project,
Yes,
and I 100% bought into it, and
yes,
I loved it. Don't
yeah.
even scoff at me,
Oh
man.
no, it's not. Oh, here,
Yeah,
let me
but
footnote
that
this. I've never actually seen it. The reason I hated it is because I was working at the theater and it caused so much vomit cleanup to the point
yeah,
where the
Yeah,
staff had to rebel, and we demanded that it only be in 4 theaters, and it was the two at the very end of the building where they could run out the back door and we could hose it down, and the two right by the
the
washroom.
the problem with
Like,
it
that
was the
that killed the movie
jerkiness
for me.
of the film,
Oh,
like it
100%.
yeah,
is
100%.
disorienting. So
yeah.
but yeah, that one and Cloverfield was like one of my favorite found footage films. I
Yes.
loved that movie, especially that one scene where they're in the tunnel with the infrared and they turn around and like the spider-like creatures are on the tunnel in the behind them. They're like, run! It's just it's good. It's really good.
Yeah,
Uh,
Cloverfield was the one I was gonna pull. Um, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
my Blair Witch, it scared the shit out of me. Like it
same,
terrified me. I
same.
was so I bought
Yeah,
I was in like 1,000%,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
didn't even want to
It
go into the forest ever again. I was like,
it
I'm
felt
done. I'm never going
so.
camping. I'm never going anywhere
Yeah,
in the woods because I'm going to get tortured by whatever the hell that was.
yeah. I
yeah,
was I bought in.
I
I mean,
never
I knew
saw
it
it.
was a movie. Like I knew it wasn't
Yeah,
real, but while you're there, like my disbelief of it was able to
you
subside
could
where I was
you
like
could turn it off. Yeah,
invested. Yeah.
and I
So
find it a lot that with a lot of movies, if you can buy in
yeah.
and not have this preconceived notion, okay, it's a movie, I know it's fake. Like The
Yeah.
Grudge. The Grudge was sort of without me.
Grudge is awesome.
I
Yeah.
could not walk through my house for weeks with lights on.
Yeah.
There had to be lights on because I was terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
but yeah, so
Um if we're gonna let's stay with horror for a second. I have two
okay.
that I have on the list. I
Fire
don't
them
know
off.
which one to talk about first, but let me start with
Fire them
this
both
one.
off quick.
Okay. The Exorcist
Hmm.
is getting remade.
mhm.
Yeah, I'm not on board there.
I am interested
Okay.
because the first was such a classic.
Mhm.
So, but it was also what the first one was released in like the 70s. So
Yes.
I'm super
73.
interested to see if
Yeah,
they stick the landing with it because it could be amazing or it could be terrible.
yeah.
Um, so they're two remakes, and the other one that they're remaking is Salem's Lot.
Oh, interesting.
So
Well, that's got some big names attached to it too, doesn't it? I'm pretty
Salem's
sure.
Lot,
Yeah, I think so.
I believe so. I'm just gonna look it up on IMDb. I think it's a Netflix movie, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure.
So as far as The
Um,
Exorcist, yeah, that's 1973. Salem's Lot is 79, and I'm looking into. Nope,
Where is it?
I'm not seeing it on the IMDb. I'll let Seb pull that up. The only reason I'm not on board with The Exorcist is I just think there's a certain line you don't fuck with. Like
Yeah.
that was good. This is not like remaking Evil Dead where they're taking some of the lower budget stuff out so that they don't have to lean into the comedy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a remake of Scarface, even though I've already seen a couple that tried to tell us they weren't a remake of Scarface. FYI, fuck Master P and his movie. I just think there's a line. I don't want to see a remake of certain films. I don't necessarily. Granted, I got to see them all in the theater because of it, but George Lucas re-releasing the original Star Wars trilogy with effects, sure, I got to see all three in the theater, but we didn't need it. I
No.
don't know
Okay.
if we need some of this stuff.
We need Salem's Lot, and let me just talk about Salem's Lot really quickly. So the writer is Gary Dauberman, and he was started remaking it in, I think, 2019, and his whole vision with it is he wants to make a new version of Salem's Lot to make vampires frightening again. He wants to get away from the romanticized undead of like Twilight and Interview with the Vampire and the Vampire Diaries. Also, James Wan is one of the producers of the film, I believe. So he did like The Conjuring. I think it's James Wan's the Saw guy, right?
He's the Saw guy. He's
so he's like a horror like guy that you want to go to, right? So it's going to be interesting to see if I'm not sure if it's being released this year. I'm pretty sure it is, but
it was supposed to come out in April, but it got pushed back, and now there's no release date at all.
Yeah, I believe it's coming out this year, and I think the reason they say is because a lot of the post-production was screwed up because of COVID and whatnot, so they decided to delay the post-production until they could do it properly. So yeah, so
I'm fine with that.
So I'm interested in that. So The Exorcist for me is interesting because it is arguably the best horror movie ever done. It's on a lot of top 100 lists. It is not as scary today when you watch it, obviously, because but back in when it was current, it was pretty freaky. So I'm interested in that, and Salem's Lot for me because it's one of the first Stephen King books I ever read. So,
that's a good one.
And I don't think the movie version of it was very good.
No, I mean Stephen King had a problem where he had a lot of licensing go out really early on, and I don't think the technology was necessarily there to bring his vision across. Even when it was, they still managed to screw up the Dark Tower. But I think there are some things with Stephen King, like when it was a lower key thing without supernatural stuff, heavily
Shawshank Redemption,
like
that,
like Shawshank's a bit different than what I was thinking, but absolutely. Yeah. But like The Stand, again, a bit different. They did the mini series on that, I guess twice, but you didn't need the effects for that. You just needed a sickness. Cujo, another exception.
Cujo holds up. It really does for me anyway.
And I mean, as does.
That dog is terrifying.
I had the title in my head and it just ran away. Jack Nicholson.
According to the Hollywood, so I'm just going to interject here because I've been looking at it for a while. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the release date for Salem's Lot is April 21st of this year.
Excellent.
So
that's now. Were you confirmed that is that a Netflix thing?
It doesn't say.
Yeah,
it's new line. It's a new line project, so I'm assuming it's going to theaters because it's Warner Brothers. So I'm assuming it's a theater thing.
Okay, and that's a solid release date. That is now from working in the theaters. You're looking at May and the first 2-3 weeks of June as being your big blockbuster time. So that's a big bonus. They're trying to sneak in there and get you with
Guardians 3, Little Mermaid. Indiana Jones.
They're trying to get a quality project in there before
the controversial Little Mermaid.
Well,
which is
I'm not even touching that.
Yeah, we're not touching that topic. It's funny that you guys mentioned Shawshank Redemption because for someone that is historically cataclysmically bad at making a good ending, that has as in Stephen King never writes a good ending, that is probably one of the best endings of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
So he absolutely hit a home run with that ending. No spoilers.
Is the ending of the short story the same as the ending in the movie?
I have no idea. I've never read the short story.
I'd be willing to bet it's probably not.
Yeah,
that would be my guess.
King is on record as saying, he's like, yeah, I was just cranking them out because I had a little what is it, the Colombian marching powder,
That's
or as
right.
they call it in Tower Records, the hand truck fuel, and
Yep.
I was just cranking them out. They were paying me for them, so I was just cranking them out. So yeah, there's
Well,
flaws in the work,
and
and
his books
I
aren't about
accept that.
endings anyway. They're about the journey to get to that
Well,
whatever
hold
shitty
on.
ending he comes up with. It's all about the journey. Like the Dark Tower is
Hmm.
a perfect example of that. The ending of the Dark Tower is kind of lame, but this everything that preceded that, the journey that Roland took was amazing.
And the Dark
And
Tower is still ongoing. They are publishing
They're
stuff from
trying
it.
to
I
get
don't
that,
know
yeah.
where the timeline is. They still do comic books, but however, he has one movie, and we're getting way out of 2023. But the journey and the ending were perfect. Stand by me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He nailed
that's a
both.
good. So he nails the non-horror endings. It's
You know
the
what?
takeaway for
That
that.
is fair. I mean, I've never seen Cujo end to end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's really good.
The
Actually,
Shining is the movie I was looking for,
Yeah.
and
The
I've
Shining
seen
is
The
a
Shining a
great
couple of
ending,
times,
But
but
the
Carrie has
Shining
a
ending in the
phenomenal
movie
ending
is
too.
drastically different than the book, though.
That's
yeah,
true.
I
Yeah.
was
It is
I was
not
about
even
to say,
close. It's
I
not even
think
close. So
the film kind of
He's stuck the landing with Carrie though. The ending to
Mhm.
Carrie is a phenomenal. So I
So
mean, if
maybe
we're
pre-Columbian marching powder, he was on
yeah.
top of his game.
So you've mentioned cocaine a couple of
oh
times. Do
hell
we
yeah.
want to talk
Absolutely,
about
I know where you're
the
going with this.
you
Let's
know where
get
I'm
into
going?
this, and then we'll hammer out a couple more.
Okay. There is a movie being released in a couple months called Cocaine Bear. And yes, it is exactly what you think it is. Mike, do you want to dive into it a little bit? Because I know you've been itching to talk
I,
about this one.
well, I watched the trailer and I okay. So basically, the premise of Cocaine Bear, some drugs
Spit
get
a
thrown
lip.
out of a plane over top. Here's the trailer. Yeah, you pretty much get the whole gist of it in the trailer. But yeah, basically, a bear finds drugs, eats all the cocaine, and goes bananas. And it looks really funny. The CGI is is okay at best, and
Yeah.
I think it's kind of bad on purpose. Um, it's got some, some notable faces in it. Ray Liotta's in it. God
Yep.
rest the soul.
Yeah, so this movie was filmed years ago. Like
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
it's not a new movie, obviously, because rest in peace, Ray Liotta. He died
Yeah.
last year, I think, in May. So
And for those of you listening on Apple down the road here, go back and either check this trailer out on the YouTube where we are pulling this, or just go back and watch our live show. Fast forward through it on Facebook or YouTube. Um,
And
I'm
that
going
guy
to
looks
leave the
familiar too.
audio off.
oh,
Just
look
'cause
at the
it's
bear sliding
yeah.
off the ground.
My cat does that when I'm away for 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine a bear doing a whole bunch of cocaine somehow and basically going nuts. So
And
that's
honestly, why is Ray Liotta even in this? I don't even understand. But
this was his last movie, I think.
Yeah, yeah, he died right after filming this, right?
You're safe. Bears can't climb trees. Of course they can.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is a train wreck, but a beautiful train
Oh,
wreck.
this is somewhat better quality than Velocipaster, but
it's maybe one step up
yeah,
the staircase here. I'm
this
not
is
sure
no
it's too
less of
far
an
above that.
absolute train wreck. I am looking forward to this because we are looking at a lot of comedy mixed with something absolutely friggin' terrifying.
Oh,
Yeah.
If
this is
anybody's
going to
ever
be a
been up
cult
close to
classic,
a
I
bear,
guarantee you.
yeah.
Oh man, you fucked.
Yeah, and they
Like this
and
looks
the
terrible.
dialogue
This
is like
looks so bad.
is perfect. It's like
You're not watching it for breaking CGI,
Oh
that's
hell
for
no.
sure.
no.
But
No, you're not. Yeah,
cocaine
Cocaine
bear.
Bear,
no.
baby.
So I actually recently watched, or just about to end it. I started it yesterday. True Romance. Have you guys
Nice.
actually seen? I mean, it's about cocaine as well. But do you know what the cast list is of that?
Yes.
I'll give you a rundown of the cast just for
It's
the
humongous.
Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, Bronson Pinchot, Samuel L. Jackson, Michael Rappaport, James Gandolfini, Chris Penn, Tom Sizemore. Just to name a few actors who are in that movie.
No, and that's Tarantino either written or produced.
I think
He
he
wrote
wrote
it.
it.
He
Direct
wrote it,
but yeah.
and
Yeah, he had his hands in
So,
there somewhere. All right,
Tony Scott directed it. But yeah, that's we'll move on. We don't need to talk about that.
We're kind of running low on time. Seb does have to get to work because he has a legitimate job on the weekends, unlike Mike and I, who are lazy bums. I'm just gonna rattle off what I have from
Okay.
my list of things that I need to see this year. Um, and Dune was probably the most plot heavy one.
Mhm.
Uh, John Wick 4. Love the John Wick
Yeah.
the series. It's just a ride. It's a very simple plot. It starts as revenge, and then it's just the fallout of seeking that revenge. Really looking forward to this because I love the action sequences. It is
Mhm.
hardcore realistic. We don't get a lot of just we're gonna have a big fight even though we both have loaded guns. No, it's like I'm just gonna put two in you and move on to the next guy. Um, a lot of people are expecting me to go real heavy on the comic book movies. Most of the DC shit is on. Yeah, I'll watch it, but I ain't paying for it. Uh, but the
Fucking
two that I am
superhero. I'm
looking forward
superhero
to:
out, man. I can't do anymore. I'm done.
Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Yeah.
Quantum Mania. Looking forward to that, and Across the Spider-Verse, the animated one. That was one of
That
the
one's probably going to be really good
that is well done. It was Marvel's first Academy Award win, I think.
because Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
watched
think
I
I
watched
think they
it.
won for that.
I watched the trailer for
And
Ant-Man, and the CGI looks phenomenal in that movie.
oh, absolutely, and
Yeah.
it's really getting a little more into the Kang thing. But
Yeah.
go
I haven't
watch
seen even
Loki
the second one,
if you
so
can sit
whatever.
through it. And
I don't
then
think.
the final two, Transformers: Rise of the
Oh
Beasts.
hell yeah,
This one got me. I watched the Transformers movie again. Very simple plot: giant robot fights giant robot, and the
yeah,
humans have something to do with it. You
yeah.
don't got to think too deep. Grab a
Nope.
beer, grab a popcorn, enjoy
Dude,
it.
I
But
like
what
the
hooked me
Transformer
on
movies.
this, I
Is Michael
enjoy them.
Bay? Did Michael Bay do this one? Is this another
I
Michael
don't know.
Bay?
I'll have to
I'll look it up.
that up.
I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
But what really hooked me is on watching the trailer is I think Beast Wars was freaking stupid, but
Mhm.
they have brought back some Transformers we haven't seen yet, and they have made them much, much closer to the original design from the cartoon. You see R2 or RC, and you
RC,
see
yeah.
Blue Streak and Jazz and Mirage, and they look much, much closer.
It's
Mirage looks
not. It's not
exact.
Mike.
It's an '80s Porsche. It's late '70s,
Yeah,
early '80s Porsche, right? It's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
and
It's
that's what
not.
I
It's
needed.
not
That
Michael Bay.
Oh, so it might be
good.
good.
It's
Um,
Steven. It's Steven Caple Jr. So he
Okay.
okay.
directed Creed 2.
Okay.
This is probably his most notable thing.
So he's
Okay.
capable.
Well,
That's
I'm
good.
also looking
Yeah.
forward to Creed 3, but I'm not going to pay for it. The last one I'm willing to pay for, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom doesn't nearly go wrong. Sure, marketing will screw him over. He's
Well,
got
him
some stuff
talking will
that's
just screw him over, but yes.
yeah, he will. Yeah, he will. He'll do some stuff that just flies under the radar, but stuff like Night and Day with
Mhm.
Cameron Diaz was great. He did Oblivion and Edge of Tomorrow, which were great, and they weren't huge,
Edge of
huge,
Tomorrow was
huge.
so good.
Um,
It was really
but yeah,
good.
the Mission Impossible series, it only gets better. Like as they add
Yeah.
to it, like I look back and it's almost a descending order of quality, which is extremely rare in a franchise. Even
I don't
Bond
think I've
couldn't
seen
do
one
it.
since two.
Oh, you're missing out. Three business picks up in three with
Does
Philip
it?
Seymour Hoffman.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Highly recommend you go
Okay.
back, start at three, and hammer through from there. Because
Mhm.
with Philip Seymour Hoffman in three, it really hums along.
He's a
Again,
phenomenal
you're
actor,
not
by the way.
absolutely
God rest
rest
his
in
soul.
peace.
Yeah.
But
So too
yeah,
bad.
that's the remainder of my list for what I'm looking forward to. Mikey, what do you got on your list that you're looking forward to
I'm
still?
actually I want to talk about a little bit. Well, there's Indiana Jones. I'm cautiously optimistic about
That's
it.
on my list as well, so we can dive
Yeah,
into that a little
yeah.
bit.
Like I'm not like I'm kind of glad Spielberg's not doing it, and I'm kind of glad that they found a director that does gritty movies. He did Logan. I can't even remember his name is escaping me right now.
This could low key be a home run.
It absolutely
It could be a
yeah,
home run
it could
as
be.
long as they don't try to formulate the same way.
And I
I
don't
think
think they
they
will because of the different director. I think
yeah.
it's going to be completely different than 1, 2, and 3.
I
4
think it
is
might be a send
something.
off to Harrison Ford, right?
Oh,
His
absolutely. The
character.
dude's like
So
107 years
yeah.
He
old. Like,
wants. He's been pretty adamant that he wants to end some characters, and we got Mads Mikkelsen as well in there. Antonio
you can't go wrong.
Awesome
Banderas.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who directed
John
it?
Rhys Davies is back.
Look it
Toby
up.
jo- like that. We got a good cast. Four left such a bad taste in my mouth.
It did.
It
It
had
was
come
god
out
awful.
a week after I had left my keys and my alarm code behind me in life, and I went out to see another buddy, and he's like, "I'm running this at 1 o'clock in the morning." So I did what I
So
had already told my buddies: bring me beer and donuts, and we're watching a movie.
Mhm.
And I was fucking mad, but
so
I stayed for it because you got to help your buddy clean up the mess, right?
Yeah.
James, what's his name? James Mangold is directing it.
Yeah.
So he did Girl Interrupted. He did Walk the
Mhm.
Line. He did 3:10 to Yuma, the Wolverine, Logan.
Yeah.
He did Ford versus Ferrari. He did. I said Walk the Line already. So
He's awesome. Like every movie, all
Yeah,
that
he's
whole list is movies of the year.
yeah,
and I won't lie. I looked at the title. I looked at they were doing another one. I just immediately got the no feeling. This is changing my mind.
Mhm.
Diving into this is changing my mind. This might be one that I have to check out.
yeah. I actually think it's going to be a really good movie. So
Mhm.
I'm hopeful for it.
And I've heard they sort of talk about Shia LaBeouf's character from 4 and why he's not in this one.
Good.
Yeah,
I do like when
Yeah.
they reference that. Can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. I can't just to find the reason why
Yeah.
he's not. Well, there's a million reasons why he's not in it, but it's also
I mean, they could have
nice that he's not
recast,
going to.
but I mean, at some point, let's just poke fun at the guy because he's had a bit of
Yeah.
a life. What else you got?
Yes.
I got one more movie than a TV show.
Okay.
Renfield.
Yes.
With Matt's favorite actor, Nicolas Cage.
Oh.
Yeah, you
Guys.
dude, you have to watch the trailer because
No,
watch the
I watched it.
trailer.
I watched it. Fuck Nicolas Cage and everything that comes out of his
Oh
mouth.
my
He
God,
doesn't even
dude.
deserve to be in
No,
Velocipaster.
man,
Fuck
it
him.
looks
He's
so-
terrible.
he looks
He's done
awesome.
3 good
Nicolas
movies
Cage
in
is
his
the best.
entire fucking career. He can't say a word on film without screwing
No.
it up.
He's like
And that
William
trailer
Shatner.
is
It's
really,
fucking
really
great.
good. I'm going to say that I watched the trailer twice yesterday. It's really, really good until Nicolas Cage opens his
That's
fucking
the
mouth.
best.
He makes it the best part, man.
Fuck
Okay.
Nick Cage and Con Air Con shit.
Oh,
Fuck
come on.
him.
Con Air was
He's
so good.
terrible. Put his ass out in the desert.
What about The
Fucking
Rock?
leave him there with a can of motor oil like the end of Quantum of Solace. Fuck Nick Cage. Okay, I'm
Whoa,
gonna leave this
Jesus.
conversation for 2 minutes and let you guys put it over.
Holy fuck! I think I really struck a nerve there. Jesus, he's leaving the
Matt's
room.
just gonna go pee. I think
He's got up and left, and maybe he comes back.
it is our job to set Matt off at some point in the podcast, right? So,
Absolutely.
But anyways, if you can just imagine Nick Cage playing Dracula, just
Which
imagine.
nobody really can because
just imagine it.
yeah.
Like it's wild and crazy. I wonder what he thinks are his best movies though. But
he
there's a
probably thinks
couple.
all of his movies are his best movies.
Oh my god, there's what was the name of the Nick Cage movie? Like the recent one that he did. I can't remember it.
Not Pig.
No, it's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I think that's the one. It was recommended for me to watch it.
Okay.
And it's Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage in the movie.
Oh yeah. It's supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be really
That's
good.
what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and he's just at his craziness in it, basically.
Yeah, and he'll basically do any movie. He'll do anything, no matter how bad it sounds. He'll do it.
And then he goes 100% in every movie. Like he doesn't get caged. The other one that we're supposed to watch, which is really intense, is Mandy.
Huh?
Have you heard of it?
No.
It is with Nicolas Cage, and it's Nicolas. It's like it's a horror movie, but he goes.
Oh, sorry, Mandy.
Mandy, yes.
I've seen Mandy. Mandy is fucking weird.
Is it good? It's
yes.
we're talking about Mandy.
Okay,
Another one of your favorite actors' movies. It was oddly disturbing. It was just there were some sequences that were really weird, and it was sort of not really my type of horror movie. Really, like it was.
It seems like it's psychotic, really. So
it kind of is psychotic, and it's not. I'm not. Because everybody raved about Mandy. Oh, Mandy's so good, and then I watched it, and I'm like, well, what the hell is going on? And it just wasn't my style. It's not my style.
Yeah. But yeah, I know but Renfield is a big thumbs up for me. I definitely want to see that. It looks wild and crazy and whatnot.
And then my TV show, I just finished watching season 2, Alice in Borderland.
Yeah.
I can't go on enough of how good this show is. It is honestly probably in my top 5 of all time favorites. I might watch it again. At the end of season 2, it sort of it left, it wrapped up everything. It landed the plane so well. Like it
I have
wasn't
to get
like,
into
oh,
that.
yeah, it didn't have one of those shows where it ended and you're like, oh, well, that's
Yeah.
fucking dumb. But
Where
this
do I
one was
find
like
that one? I've just
Netflix.
finished a few things. Netflix. Okay, so I'm gonna
Netflix.
go. I'm gonna start that when we're done
Yeah,
here. Um,
it's fucking great.
Alice in Borderland. I'm
Alice
gonna
in
give it a
Borderland.
whirl.
So good.
Okay, so I have two,
Okay.
and they'll be the last two. Um, so this is one is a based on a topic um, that I love, and I have three podcasts I listen to that are dedicated to this topic: Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, with Chris
Oh yeah,
Pine and Michelle
yeah,
Rodriguez. I'm
right.
I'm not gonna. Yeah,
so looking forward to that, and
I'm interested in seeing where that goes.
I hope they do it right because the one time they did the Dungeons and Dragons movie, it was such a swing and a miss that it
Hmm.
soured people from
Oh
watching
God.
Dungeons and Dragons
This
for
one it looks
forever.
fun. Like it looks like it's 2 hours of fun. Like it's
Yeah, and so
Hmm.
by the trailer, it doesn't take itself too seriously.
no.
So there's a lot of comedic elements in it, and it's a fun, good time. So I really hope that is good.
I think
Um,
Chris Pine in is kind of weird, but
yeah, it's
I
not as
I
think
weird
Chris
as
Pine
having
is a
Marlon
selling
Wayans
point for
though.
me.
no, true enough.
Yeah.
True enough.
Probably a guy that doesn't even know what Dungeons and Dragons was until he
Probably not.
started that movie. But
Yeah.
that's just a complete
Well, you
guess,
never
right?
know
So
because there's a
yeah,
big thing in Hollywood about playing D&D. Joe
yeah,
Manganiello has been pretty open,
Yeah.
and I know they did an episode of The Big Bang Theory on it. But Joe Manganiello
yep.
really has a D&D game that goes on, and I know
It's a
WWE guys
yeah.
that get involved in it, and I know
Oh
big
yeah.
other big stars are in there. Chris
Well,
Pine
what's
for
his?
me, since he did a movie with Reese Witherspoon and Tom did Venom.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
It was Tom Hardy and Chris Pine as two CIA agents trying to woo Reese Witherspoon, and he hooked me. And I saw
Mhm.
that before I saw the first Star Trek he did. Chris Pine, low key, is a selling point for a movie for me.
Mhm.
You
He's a
throw
good
him in a
actor.
movie, I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. And also Hugh Grant's in it.
Well, you
All
can't go
right.
wrong.
I mean,
Yeah.
Hugh's not holding up well. I saw him in
Nope.
Glass Onion recently.
He's not
Um,
that bad. Come on, man.
And
So
Sarah, as always, has my brain. This Means War is the movie I was talking about. But yeah, no, Chris
ah,
Pine,
I
absolutely.
thought she actually meant she's going to war with you, but that's fine. Yeah.
She probably will. I haven't opened my mouth directly to her today.
Okay, so and the last movie I have, and I had to really dive deep for this one, and I'm not even sure you guys are aware that it's being filmed right now.
Mhm.
You might be one. Cat is freaking biting me. Is Beverly Hills Cop 4?
I don't know, man.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Yes, it's called Axel Foley. Beverly Hills Cop 4
with Eddie
Is
Murphy.
this
with Eddie Murphy. Yeah,
three
I don't
was
know.
now three? Beverly Hills Cop 3 was like Indiana Jones 4.
Mhm.
If you were to talk to me about top trilogies of all time, I'm not going to have Beverly Hills Cop 3 or Beverly Hills
no.
Cop in there because, as far as I'm concerned, there's only two.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Well,
talk about
again,
a four film franchise when you're talking about Indiana Jones. I'm going to tell you Indiana Jones is a fucking solid trilogy.
it's a
Um,
Netflix movie.
okay.
It's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it, Judge Reinhold, Kevin Bacon, Eddie Murphy, Paul
Wow.
Reiser, Bronson Pinchot is in it. So,
Oh God, they got Bronson back. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
So, I well, here's the thing. Here's my
Sarah
feeling
has
on
mixed
it.
Too.
feelings.
When is the last time you've seen a good Eddie Murphy movie? It's been some time.
Um,
I have a feeling
Bowfinger?
Bowfinger was great.
it's been some time, hasn't it? Right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just have a feeling,
Did you guys
and
see the Coming to America sequel?
it was terrible.
No.
I never watched it.
It was terrible. Shrek. Okay, well that's fine. Yeah, Shrek is
Shrek
it's
doesn't
probably.
count.
I'm hoping that it's gonna do what Indiana Jones is to Harrison Ford. This will do for Eddie Murphy. It's like a send off movie almost, and
Mhm.
I think if they there's a potential that they really hit a home run with it.
Um, did you
So
guys know that Beverly Hills Cop had a TV movie in 2013?
no idea.
What?
I was just looking up Eddie Murphy's credits to figure out exactly what his last movie I enjoyed was. But yes, that's apparently a thing. So
Mm.
there's a 2013 Beverly Hills Cop TV movie. Um, several things on me just puckered because I don't think I need to see that. But yeah, I mean, you look away. I mean, Dream Girls, Father of the Pride was supposed to be actually hysterical, but I mean, it's a lot of kid stuff. It's his best
Yeah.
stuff in the last 20 years is all seems to be voiceover
Yeah.
Yeah.
stuff. Where he's, donkey.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, this could be a resurrection for his career. A role, like
Mm-hmm.
how many more Nutty Professors can you watch?
Not
Please
not too
no,
you
many.
know,
yeah.
Absolutely.
so
But yeah,
the, I'm
I'm looking at
interested.
it.
I'm really interested, and if it's good, I'll be really happy.
I
Yeah,
hope it's
live
good
action
for
stuff.
the
Looking at it's
sake of
like
the
Bowfinger
franchise.
and Life, and those were
Yeah.
both 99. So,
That's a while
and
ago.
once in a while, I'll hear rumor and innuendo that he is putting together another comedy special.
Yes.
Um,
Well, where would you rate Norbert in terms of his?
Right up there with
below
the TV
every
movie of
Nicolas
Beverly
Cage
Hills
film.
Cop.
With
Below
it,
every Nicolas Cage film.
is
That's
that
where he would
above
want to
Jack
put
and
it.
Jill with Adam Sandler?
Oh,
Talk about two of the worst
wow.
movies ever.
You know what? I feel like we have hit a gold mine here of just absolute garbage movies to discuss.
Yeah.
Um, and apparently we
Couldn't
have
imagine that being the case of
a
Stallone being
little bit
Axel
of trivia
Foley.
coming in from
Yeah.
Sarah. Stallone was originally
Really?
slated to be Axel Foley. Yeah, I heard that. I can't imagine that
Oh,
movie
for
being a
back in the day.
success.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in
I
the day.
can't imagine that being as good of a success. I mean, part of it is just Axel's charm.
Have
Thanks
you
for the
guys
trivia, Sarah.
watched the new Stallone TV series, Tulsa King?
No, I just saw it the other
It's
day.
supposed to be good.
Is
I've
it?
heard good. I've heard good things about
Like,
it.
he's never done TV. This is like his
No,
No,
first
it's his
foray
first.
into being a
Yeah,
TV series
I think
lead.
so.
So
yeah,
yeah.
I saw that, and then I decided to catch up on Yellowstone first, which I've hammered through.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
if you're saying it's good, I'll add that to the list. I'm going to try the Alice in Borderland first.
Do it.
However, I'm looking at a clock. This has been fun,
Subtitles.
boys, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, Sebastian does has to go and make sure he's paying his mortgage and eating.
That's
Um,
true.
It's important
which
stuff.
a little high maintenance. I mean,
I know.
we'll get involved in the Sebastian's intervention for his hardcore addiction to food and shelter at some other point. Um, it's it
It's a
is what
thing.
it is.
You gotta live.
Absolutely, you got to live. Any final thoughts, boys?
I think 2023 is going to be a fun year of movies. There's all sorts of every genre. If you know me and Seb love the horror, there's
Yeah.
plenty for us to sink our teeth into, if you will. And yeah, I think
there's
it's going to lots of good
Yeah,
lots
I
of good
got
stuff coming.
I got a few on my list that are a little more dramatic that I'm kind of curious
Well,
about.
we could do this again too. We could talk about
Absolutely.
other, maybe movies that aren't really,
Yeah, I
you
think
know,
maybe coming up into blockbuster season,
yeah,
we'll have a look and we'll
I
see
think
what
so.
because we got a dumping ground of garbage coming up.
we can do
January.
a post show about if the movies that we suggested were actually hits or not.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
I am looking forward to. I think we need to sort something out for Dune.
Yes.
We'll get together with
Yeah, I
Sebastian.
gotta
We'll
watch
watch
that. That's
Dune
gonna be
1, and
that's on
then
the
maybe we'll
priority
hit the
list.
theater. Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
can do that.
We
All
could
right.
watch Dune 1. We can stream it together. We can all three of us can
Yeah,
watch
there
it
you
just
go.
privately. Then I don't have to drive down in
Yes,
November.
Sarah, you
Yeah,
can
there you
come
go.
too. Before I know she's typing it right now. You can either sit at my house or we'll pull you into the feed.
We'll make it happen.
All right, so Sebastian, you get yourself off to work. I'm gonna go do
Okay.
some choring and watch
Yeah, me too.
watch a little of the Alice in Borderlands.
Yeah.
And from those of us here at the Inn of Previews and Trailers, and especially Nick Cage, you piece of shit. Good
Hey,
afternoon.
come on now. Peace and love.
Peace and love. See you
Peace
guys.
and love.